we've spent a lot of time tonight talking about Jason Botterill. I feel like fans, for sure, maybe some media, maybe not, probably a little, have been calling for his head recently until the team, but now the team's playing well again. Do you feel that his job going into this offseason is now safe? Or do you feel like you said, he's already made his moves? There's not really much he could do now until the summer. Do you feel like the fate of his tenure as general manager is going to be tied into how this team plays over the last 20 games? Or do you feel like there's enough potential here and maybe Pegula wants to keep that continuity thing that he's going to be back regardless? Unless maybe they go like 2-18, something like that. It's stupid over their last 20. Are you pretty confident he's going to be back, or is it the jury's still out for you?
As of right now, I'd say I would, if I had a bet to hedge, I would hedge that he'll be back and that things will be safe. I mean, we've seen this team crater unbelievably hard in recent years when it comes to this final stretch. But but like you said, unless they go 2-18 in the last 20, I think he's pretty safe. I think it's set up so that he'll be okay. Fans are going crazy about the overage, the cap overage stuff, which I'll be honest, I have a very minimal grasp of it, even after reading 100 things about
me too.
it.
Right.
But I mean, they've had to spend so much money on long-term injured relief this year that, Yoki Haru and Dahlin get their bonuses. They're going to be over. It's just a question of how much. People are thinking they're going to get hit with like a multi-million dollar cap hit penalty, which it's not going to be the case. It's going to be a little bit, but I mean, the money they saved, from Berglund leaving last year, I mean, that saved them a ton of money already. They've got a ton of UFAs that are either sticking around for minimal raises or just going completely. I'm not too worried about, if they get hit with like a, $500,000 penalty for the season. Like, I mean, yeah, it's almost the cost of another player, but I mean, listen, if you're building a roster and $500,000 keeping you from making a playoff team, then I don't know. I think that's more damning.
Yeah.
I think that's a little bit more damning on the GM if he can't if he can't get around that and make it work. So I mean, unless they absolutely crater, I feel pretty confident he's going to be back. I don't think the Big Wolves are in a big hurry to move him out. They want some patience. They want some stability out of all this. I mean, they're pretty sick of just changing coaches every 2 years. I have to believe they got to feel the same way about GMs at the NHL level. I mean, it's crazy where the things have gone the way it has, but I mean, weird things happen. I mean, if things get really bad at the end, the fans are going to force them to make a move. I mean, they were pretty aware that the fans are pissed.
Yeah.
And, but I mean, all it takes is like another 3-game losing streak for the fans to just call for heads again. And
yeah.
That's kind of the way it is right now. But I mean, they're in a spot where they can't afford many more losses. They know they got all the points count, and they can't really even
tough games coming up too.
Overtimes,
and tough games.
This trip is probably, I mean, we could probably say it about future trips too, but this upcoming trip's probably going to decide a lot about whether or not this whole, impossible dream idea holds up or not.